once again here on the show. Love it when he calls in. Love it when he joins this program because he brings to this show what he brought to the draft coverage last night. He is Jay Bilas here on the program. How are you, Jay?
I am doing great, Rich. How are you?
I'm doing great. I thought the Sacramento Kings had the best draft. When I say that, I'm not including the Timberwolves because obviously acquiring Jimmy Butler is a home run, to use another phrase. What did you think of the Kings draft last night, Jay?
I thought overall the Kings did very well. I was a little bit surprised that they took 10 and turned it into two players that I wasn't, I'm not quite sure are as good as what they could have had at 10. I mean, Zach Collins ultimately became the pick for Portland, if I remember right, and then Sacramento had Portland make picks for them at 15 and 20. So they got Justin Jackson of North Carolina, who's a good shooter and a guy who's lengthy and can defend a little bit, and they got Harry Giles of Duke, who Giles has been injured for the last basically year and a half. And, so there's some risk involved there. I guess at 20, you could argue to get a top 5 talent at 20, although injured and you're not sure what's going to happen. It may work out in Sacramento's favor, and that's, as you said, a huge home run. But for me, I'm a little more reluctant, I would be a little more reluctant to trade out of 10 because Zach Collins is a potential star. I mean, and he could very well be one of the 5 best players in the draft. Now, who knows whether he will be, but I tend to think that you trade down from that spot and you're taking more of a risk than if you keep it.
So who do you think was the best, I guess this is the phrase that we always use in the NFL draft, value pick, Jay? I mean, even if you could even say Fultz, because first overall, you can't miss on it. And if he is the can't miss prospect that so many people believe, go for that as your option. But who's the best value pick from last night?
Well, there were a few of them, and I agree with you. Like Markelle Fultz is great, so you could call that a value at number 1. But at number 1, you get whatever you want. When you pick further down in the draft, you sometimes take what falls to you, and sometimes you get lucky. And I think Phoenix got lucky. They would have gotten a really good player anyway, but for them to get Josh Jackson of Kansas to have him fall to them, because he'd be the type of player that you might want to trade up to get. And then another team that I think got a value pick would be Dallas at number 9 to get Dennis Smith Jr. because he would be a top 5 player in most other drafts. But there are value players in the draft that are going to turn out to be, I think, very good. There's no way that 30 guys in this draft are going to be really good players. That never happens. But so, it's funny, Rich. I mean, you've been through this more than I have, but, before the draft, I was on SportsCenter, and one of the questions the SportsCenter producer asked kind of before I went on was, hey, we want you to tell us, like, who you're projecting to be kind of a Draymond Green type player out of this draft.
Right.
I was like, look, if I was projecting that, I'd rank him number 1. I mean, like he wouldn't be at the end of the first round. He'd be ranked up top. I don't have that kind of magic eye. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be that guy. I didn't think Draymond Green would be Draymond Green. And I don't know who else did because he got taken 35th overall.
Yeah, I mean, while we're crossing sports streams here, Jay, I mean, yesterday Derek Carr got a $125 million contract from the Oakland Raiders, and he was a second-round draft pick. If you redraft from his draft, he's the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
That's a really good point. And I think one of the things, right now the one-and-done rule is being talked about a lot, Rich, and I think it's kind of silly because the one-and-done rule has nothing to do with all this stuff, in my judgment. I think it has more to do with the rookie wage scale and the fact that these players, these young kids really, are trying desperately to get into the league to be pros because they want to get to their second contract. They don't care where they get drafted. They want in to start the clock. So it's not like the old days where they wanted to be a high pick or all that stuff. And the idea that the NBA needs more time to look at these guys is wrong because the NBA, the NFL, it doesn't matter how much time they've had. They made the same mistakes when they had plenty of time. And these one-and-done players do just as well. as they make the same decisions as whether they had 4 years to look at them. So this is kind of, I don't want to say it's nonsense, but if you want to keep them in school so you could market them better and they're a little bit more mature when they get there, emotionally and physically and all that, fine. But the idea that this is to make draft decisions, that rings hollow to me completely.
Jay Bilas here on the Rich Eisen Show. Marshall, you were nodding your head in agreement throughout that entire comment.
It's just so much is being said about the one and done rule, and I don't know how it's hurting college basketball. College coaches are talking about that they don't like it; they want it to go away. But I think it shows the coaches that can coach, regardless of how long you have a player, you coach. And I think you see that with Coach Cal, Coach K. They're one and done guys. They not only play well for them, but they went on to play well, and they at times they learned some of the values of when you move ahead, what's going to be expected of you. Mm-hmm. And both of those coaches are now coaching. Their coaching style, definitely on offense, is kind of how they play in the NBA in a sense. I know Coach Cal, he's only going to play the way. You will never see him play a zone or anything like that.
What do you think, Jay?
Well, I agree, but I think the coaches in college lament the one-and-done rule because it wears them out to have to replenish their roster every year. And so, they've got to be constantly recruiting and selling. And it's not like it used to be for some of the older guys where they could bring a class in and they develop together and you have team chemistry. You got to redo everything every year. And I think it gets exhausting for them. I don't think anybody's feeling sorry for them with the amount of money they're making.
Exactly. I was just about to say that to you.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking. And for fans, it drives me nuts when people say, hey, we need the baseball rule. They either need to go right out of high school or they stay in college. Because the fans, they don't care about their educations. They care in the abstract. They want to watch them, and they want to watch them for longer. It's totally selfish on the part of the fans, which I get. But it's not like they're saying, hey, we believe in education. These kids ought to stay in school. That's not part of this calculus at all. They just want to watch them longer. And so do I. I'd love to have them stay in school longer, but I want them to stay because it's in their best interest, not because, I'll be fine. I'll watch whoever wants to play basketball anytime. Pro, college, I love the NBA, I love college, I love high school, I love all of it. But the idea that, hey, we're, if we really believe in education, why would we want the players to go out of high school? I mean, we'd encourage them, hey, if you don't want to stay according to our timetable, then heck with you. You go off and be a pro. That doesn't make any sense to me. And if we did the baseball rule, all of the good players in high school would go right into the pros. They would not go to college and play for free for extra time. They would all go right away, and the D League is going to become a better option going forward.
Jay, when you look at the Boston Celtics, obviously they had the number 1 seed in the East, and then you look at their draft. Based on what they've drafted and the guys that they have coming back, can they beat Cleveland?
Not as long as LeBron is there, no. That's one of the things that's a really good question. That's one of the things that I was looking at with this draft is, for Boston to try to get a free agent and to spend a bunch of assets that way that might be better off long-term having, I don't think they're going to be able to beat Cleveland in the next 3 years if LeBron stays there. So I think you have to position yourself to be at your best when LeBron's on the downside. Even LeBron's going to get older. I'm almost convinced of this, but he hasn't shown it yet. But I would say he's got to have 3 more years. But if he leaves, then all of a sudden you don't need to get some crazy free agent because you're right there already in the East. And I'll tell you this though, not you didn't ask me about LeBron, but if LeBron. And this is just my judgment on this. I have no idea what he's going to do or what he's thinking. But if LeBron's thinking about going to L.A. to play, I don't get that one unless he's just miserable. His life is miserable in Cleveland because Golden State isn't going anywhere. And why would you go out there and sort of risk losing in the conference finals every year instead of being in the East where you are going to the final. Like LeBron is going to the final, and he can bring pieces to him and go after Golden State. If he goes to the Lakers won 31 games. I mean, they're not going to be, even with LeBron, they're not automatically going to be better than Golden State. I don't get that one. But maybe there's something I haven't factored in on that.
Jay Bilas, fresh off the ESPN NBA draft set. Suze, ask Bilas the poll question, then we'll update it after we say goodbye to him. Go for it.
Which top 5 pick will become an NBA All-Star first? Lonzo Ball, Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, Josh Jackson, or Markelle Fultz?
What do you think?
I think Lonzo Ball will. Because he's going to have the ball in his hands right away, and I think the Lakers are going to get up and down the floor. And from that platform in Los Angeles, I tend to think it'll wind up being Lonzo Ball. Although Markelle Fultz is, he's James Harden. Is really a remarkable offensive talent, but he's going into a locker room full of young guys, and I still think it's going to take Philadelphia some time. Not that it's not going to take LA some time, but I think it's going to take Philadelphia some time to put it all together, and especially if Joel Embiid can't stay healthy. He's an all-time great player, potentially. Obviously, if he's not healthy, then that sets them back a long ways.
So if I may just take one extra leap here, Jay, you by saying Lonzo shows off that you recognize big baller when you see it, because you are yourself a big baller, Jay Bilas. So I'm basically saying game is recognizing game here, Jay.
Well, I've got real does recognize real, as you know, but I don't. I think I am looking forward to Lonzo getting into the NBA and starting to play, so we can talk about, I can enjoy him as a player instead of rolling my eyes when we talk about his dad. I respect his dad very much, and he's done a great job raising. I don't know the other boys, but Lonzo is a really nice kid, and he's respectful. He's a really good teammate, and he's a great player. But I can't remember, sort of a player going into the pros where there was so much talk about a parent, and it's been such a distraction to enjoying how talented the kid is, and I think this will all go away in pretty short order, because I don't see this being a major issue going forward. It's always an issue in college and high school with the recruiting stuff, but I'm sure I would like LaVar Ball if I sat down with him and hung out with him. But every time I see him on television, all I want to do is change the channel. And I want that feeling to go away, because I love his son.
I think Jay Bilas just definitely brushed aside your big baller comment.
Is that right, Jay? Did you went serious answer?
I don't think you liked Rich calling the whole men calling each other big ballers is kind of, I don't know, it's making me uncomfortable.
It is a little uncomfortable. I'm an Under Armour guy anyway, so I'm not worried.
Okay. Look at you, Jay Bilas, dropping little breadcrumbs right there. Jay, again, a great job. Love having you on this show, always. So thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Always my pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
You got it. There's Jay Bilas.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that video, be sure to download our app, and I'll be sure to move Week 6 games to Saturday for that wedding you have to go to.